Hello, my name is Tom, and today I'm going to show you how to terminate an employee in Xero accounting software. So first of all, it is important to note, in order to terminate an employee, you must have payroll administration access within the Xero file. Without this, you're not going to be able to access the payroll tab, which is where we're going to be doing our work today. So if you require access, you will need to talk to the manager of the users of the file to gain access. First thing we need to do to terminate an employee is to review their entitlements in the employee tab under payroll. So we'll do that. So we'll go payroll and employees. And in our scenario, Tracy's handed her resignation in and she'll be finishing on the 19th of December. So we will select Tracy and we will go to the leave tab, and in here we can see that Tracy currently has 21.8138 hours of annual leave, 9.9069 hours of personal leave or sick leave, whichever you like to call it. Now, importantly, annual leave is paid out to employees on termination. Personal carers leave or sick leave is, as a general rule, not paid out, subject to any agreements you may have with your employee or as the award dictates. Now, if an employee has been with the business long enough, they may be entitled to long service leave, and this would also need to be paid out as part of their termination, and it would be important to ensure that long service leave is listed here as part of their leave balances prior to finalising the pay. But essentially the process I'm showing you today works exactly the same for long service leave as it does for annual leave. So we're just going to click into this annual leave because it is important that we make sure that on termination that annual leave is marked as paid out. Without that marked as paid out, the annual leave won't pay out as part of their termination, and you may be in breach of your employment laws. The same process needs to occur with long service leave in the event that they do qualify for long service leave. Now that we're happy with that it is going to be paid out as part of the final payroll, and we've taken note of the hours, we can do the actual final payroll now. So to do this, we go to payroll, pay employees, we add this week's pay run, and as you can see, there's Tracy. We'll go into Tracy, and if we scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see we have a tab called Set as Final Pay. So we select that. Now, as I said before, she's terminating and finishing on the 19th of December, and the reason was voluntary cessation. There are a number of other reasons that they can cease, and you do need to ensure you select the correct one. But in our scenario, voluntary cessation is what we are doing. It's worth noting too that subject to how the termination occurs, there may be further payouts above what we have here today that may need to be included, and that is subject to agreements that you have with the employee or awards that the employee is covered under. And you do need to do your due diligence and ensure those things are included as additional pay items in the event they are required to be paid. But for our purposes, we select voluntary cessation. You do then need to select a normal week of pay, and normally Tracy gets 900 a week, as you can sort of see a consistent amount of pay each week there. So we select one of those and we hit save. As you can see, this is a final pay. Once the pay is posted, the termination date will be set as the 19th of December, and that's important because what that means is all future pays Tracy will no longer show up on, and it'll save you having to deal with those things in future payrolls for Tracy. So what we'll do now is we'll have a quick look, and we can see that her final leave payout shows those 21.8138 hours of annual leave that she is entitled to. Notice sick leave hasn't come through because that's not required to be paid out. If the employee was getting leave loading during their employment, that generally doesn't get applied as part of a termination because it's a payout of entitlements rather than a taking of annual leave during their employment. So we now have the annual leave in, but Tracy also managed to work 18 hours over this week for us, so we just need to make sure we get that in and let the payroll recalculate. So the payroll's recalculated, but importantly you note the hours of leave have changed. So because she did work during this week, she did accrue annual leave, and that's why this balance has now changed. But important to check that the initial hours were correct before we added anything for this week to make sure that it was flowing through correctly. So the gross wage is calculated, the tax is calculated, and the super has calculated to give us our net pay. Now understandably, because it's a larger pay, she will be taxed higher within this pay, which may just balance out when she does her tax return, but it is important to take the tax that is required as part of the payroll calculation. So now that we're happy with that, the last thing I would recommend you do for part of a final pay is you add an individual message to Tracy. Hi Tracy, all annual leave accrued has been paid out as part of this pay. This pay is your final pay with the business. Thank you for your efforts. In fact, probably best to just have all leave accrued has been paid out as part of this pay. What this message will do is then list on the payroll so she can confirm that they have been paid, her entitlements have been paid out. Her annual leave should then show a zero balance on that pay slip as well. So let's hit save there. That's Tracy now complete for her final pay. I'm just going to quickly show you the pay slip. And we'll scroll to Tracy. And here she is. So you can now see at the bottom of her leave entitlements, the full amount used has been paid out and there's no balance. And then we've got our message. Hi Tracy, all leave accrued has been paid out as part of this pay. This pay is your final pay with the business. Thank you for your efforts. And the rest of your payroll is as normal. So that is how you terminate an employee in Xero. I will stress it is always important to confirm all entitlements that an employee is required to be paid as part of a final termination. This can be based off the employment contract and the award. So it is always important to speak to either Fair Work or get legal advice if you're unsure of what obligations you're required to pay your employee out on termination. If you would like detailed Xero training, or you would just like a better business accountant, then please contact Jeffkins Accountancy and Business Solutions. Thank you.